Good morning. That's MOURNing. Today I want to talk to you guys about compounded mourning. Now that's a phrase I just I just made that up, but that was the only word I could think of to talk about my subject today, which is compounded mourning. And so for me, there was someone that from my church that recently passed away. And so I wanted to talk about what it feels like and what it looks like when you are already in mourning yourself. And then you are asked to um, have space to mourn with others and what that feels like. And Oh, even though I was sad to hear about the person's passing, if I can be really just honest and transparent, I didn't feel like I had the capacity to take on any more sadness, any more sorrow. Um, I had compassion for the family because, of course, you've lost someone that you love, but because I'm still going through the mourning process myself, I literally felt like I just didn't have the capacity to give anything else. You know what I mean? Even with everything that's going on, with ICE being here in the Twin Cities right now, I I had to really stop and check myself to see, am I okay, and do a self check because I just felt like my cup was full in terms of being able to emotionally give anything. And I don't want to say that in a way that doesn't sound compassionate, but I feel like I'm already so full. I just feel like I just don't have that capacity. And so when you are going through mourning, you may indeed find yourself having compounded mourning because life goes on. People pass away, and life still goes on. Life is still moving for us, and we still have to work and take care of ourselves, and sometimes take care of others, and do all these things that we were responsible for before the person passed. You know what I mean? But when you are in the mourning process, and then other things are happening on top of you mourning yourself, it just feels like it's just stacking up and compounding, one after the other. I personally feel like I can't hold anymore. You know what I mean? I feel like I just, how do I continue to hold more? How do I show up for other people who are now going through the mourning process themselves? How do I show up for them? Um, how do I save space, that sacred space for myself, and making sure that I'm okay, and still being there for others, and still being compassionate, and not almost in a sense feeling like I'm being selfish because I'm taking time out to mourn myself and make sure that those in my circle, my siblings and my nieces and nephews, that we're okay. How do I manage? I'm trying to manage all of this as I'm still going through the mourning process. And so that's the only word that literally came to my mind, was just compounded mourning. One thing on top of the next, on top of the next. And we have to be so careful that we don't get overwhelmed, because there are moments where I feel like I am overwhelmed with the amount of things that are happening and going on in the world right now, while I'm still trying to, incubate myself and make sure that I'm okay. The world is still going on, but how do I make sure that I'm okay? How do I make sure that I'm going through this mourning process the way that I need to, in a healthful way? And I'm finding that just leaning more into God, leaning more into my faith, leaning more into even just giving myself grace when there are those moments where I don't have the capacity, um, and giving myself grace and not beating myself up if I just don't have if I don't have the space. You know what I mean? I just feeling that I'm just at that point, that tipping over point, where the cup is being filled, And then at some point it's filled so much that it's going to just begin to tip over. And we want to make sure that we're okay so that it's not um, tipping over to the point where we're not okay anymore. And so I just wanted to share in case anyone else might be feeling the same thing or going through the same thing that I am. I'm giving you a new term. And the term is compounded mourning. And how do we handle that? How do we continue to move forward in this mourning process and make sure that we are mourning well, right? Because that's the goal. The goal is for us to mourn well. It's not to forget our loved ones, but it is for us to learn how to mourn well and making sure that we're always giving God praise and giving Him glory and leaning into that He knows what's best, that He always gets the final say. He always gets the victory, even though sometimes it feels like it is really overwhelming, but He's going to get the victory. He's going to get the victory. On the other side of our mourning well, God is going to get the victory. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, if you're feeling like it's a lot right now, things are compounding on top of each other, sit back for a minute, take some breaths, lean into God, lean into your faith, lean into others, lean into saying, hey, I'm not okay. Maybe I need to talk to someone, and make sure that you're okay as you are mourning well. And always remember, like I say, you got this. I got this. We got this. But more importantly, let's know that God's got this. Good morning.